guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're working on this Troy-built snowblower. Customer called me a couple of days ago, said it doesn't run very well, doesn't throw snow very well. Can you drop it by? I'm like, yep, sure, drop it off whenever. So I went to fire it up today, and it won't even start today. He's got exhaust or gasoline coming out of the exhaust, and it just won't run. So we're gonna give her a good once over. Needs carb work, they all do. But nice machine actually. It's 28-inch wide, 2-stage. It's got a 277cc engine on it, and they typically run pretty well. I've got a very similar engine on my Husqvarna. So let's see what we got. It's a few years old. I'm not sure. Maybe 6, 8 years old. I didn't look at it, didn't date it or anything. So it's just a little once over. We got a few things that are not quite working right. Our controls aren't ideal. He's never done an oil change, so we're going to do that. That's the exhaust. Ugh, smells like old gas. Let's have a look-see in there. Oh, smells like old gas. Looks like yellow gas. No water in it, though. That's a good sign. We're definitely going to get rid of that gas. There's not much in there, but we'll get rid of it, take it out of there, and put some fresh in it for our testing purposes. See what's on the dipstick tube. It's low, but there's some in it. A little dark. It's not crazy. Oh, it smells like gas, though. He says he, when it did run the last time, he had to run it on choke, so the gasoline is down up in the oil in the crankcase now. So got a flat tire. We're going to get a tube for that. We're going to go over the belts. I don't think he says he's never looked at them. So we're going to give her a good once over, service the drive system, make sure that that pulley in there is working all good. But yeah, just curiosity. I'm going to pull this spark plug out. I think I know what I'm going to find. I think I know what brand this is. Well, it says LG on it. I'm sure LG didn't make this plug. Small engine guys know that number. It's a torch spark plug. Ugh, it's terrible. Get it away. NGK BPR6ES is the number you can use to replace those horrible torch spark plugs with that part number on it. All right, I'm going to gather tools, lift that hoist, and we'll get working on it. Okay, so it was pretty simple for me to take the gas tank off, just 4 bolts and a hose. Took the gas tank off, dumped all that skunky gas out of there. So, and there's no shutoff valve on this, so it was going to come dumping out of the carburetor end anyways of the fuel line. So I went ahead and dumped that out, cleaned her, and I shoved a new spark plug in the end of the wire, and I tested it. It's got spark. I know it bit me. It got me. But anyways, it's got spark, so that's okay. There is literally a puddle of gas sitting inside the muffler. That should burn off when we get it running. Puddle of gas on top of the piston. So I hit the electric start and I just let it blow some of that excess fuel out of the cylinder without the spark plug in it. And yeah, we're just going to go with it. So now it's time to start hammering on this thing, taking the shields off and get to the carburetor. Just start taking bolts out until something falls off. Let's get that out of there first. We got the throttle lever. I need those pliers. Get in behind that choke. I know you can't see it. Needles aren't going to do it. Vice grips. In Canada here, these are the metric vice grips. There we go. It'll come off nice and easy. Metric vice grips. Just a couple of 10mm bolts over here. Oh, come on, get a hold of her. Oh, another 10mm on the side here. Gonna grab a ratcheting wrench. And at least this cover back here should come off. This customer said it never really did start well with a pull cord, so he's only ever electric started it. But I like to make sure that they start well enough that they can use a pull cord if they need to. You get to the end of your driveway and the thing stalls, you don't have to push it all the way back to the garage so you can plug it in. Where else? Well, let's get these two out. That's this one. This one. Will you come out? Yeah, baby. Everything's kind of tight. Get the line off the primer pusher. Just a little spring clamp there. Line is off. Everything's stuck on everything. A big engine and a smaller chassis, so everything is kind of tight. There we go. Give her a little wiggle. This stuff dropped out of the way. And you can't see squat. A couple of nuts back here should be able to get this carburetor off, unhook the linkage, but I'd have to take all this shielding off for you guys to be able to see in there. And it's behind this bracket, and I don't need to do it, so I'm not gonna. What do we got? We got a little breather tube. This comes from the valve cover. It's just a rubber line. Crankcase ventilation. We might get into that cover and check the valves. Maybe. One nut on the carb. Two nuts for the carb. Lock washers in behind there. I'm sure they'll fall out. Yep, I got them. I got them. Choke lever. Airbox. There's a spacer in behind the carburetor. We don't need to disturb that. There's one line clamp here. I know you guys can't see. Of course, I've done this 1,000 times in other videos as well. It's just a matter of taking parts off until things end up on the bench. Give the hose a little twist. Pull and a wiggle. Yeah, there's really nowhere to get the camera in here because there's not much behind me here. Come on! Get the fuel line off of there. And whatever's in the line is going to drain. There's not much because I had it off at the gas tank end, but we'll catch it. Oh, just a little dribble. It's pretty yellowy and skunky, but there's no water in it, which is good. Water down on the carburetor gives you grief. So our primer line is here. You're going to remove this little tiny governor damper spring. Goes in only one hole in it. It only goes in one spot. And we'll tell me the carb doesn't fit out of there. Are you kidding me? It hits the handles. Didn't get enough flex on them. Oh, yeah. Good grief. Big engine and a little chassis. Carburetor. That's what I'm seeing. I know you're zoomed in a little, so the camera's going to be funky, but that's goopy. This gasket's a little goopy. I think I have one. We're definitely going to have to take this piece out. That's the little idle jet. It's underneath the idle screw. This little jet usually plugs up because it's got a microscopic little hole in it. So at this point, I'm going to get you guys pivoted around, pointed down, and we'll get this thing tore apart on the bench. I'm just going to set it and let it set it in that same little Pyrex measuring cup and let the bowl drain out though while I'm doing that. All right, we made it to the bench. Got the junk out of there. There was some crap in it, but no water. That's good. Okay, so we got to get this out. This is our idle speed screw. That goes in, idle goes up. But it's actually bottomed out. Usually it's out 3.5 turns or 3 1/4 turns or so. We're just going to put it back bottomed out. I don't know if somebody's been screwdriver in this thing, but doesn't matter. We're going to set it up anyways after it's cleaned. That out of the way. This is the animal right here. This is just a block. That out of the way. This is the beast. Usually it's plugged up. I'm not seeing any junk in it, but doesn't mean it's not got junk in it. Little wire. It's too big for that little tiny jet. Try a different wire. If I can get it. There we go. Feels like it wants to go through, but it ain't going. Could be still too big. Different wire. Come on. I don't think that's the right one. Hang on. The heck is the thin one? Oh, there's one. There, this one's tiny. Tiny, tiny. I think this is the smallest of the guitar strings. Oh, yeah. There was a chunk of stuff in it. Yep, it fell through. There was a chunk of junk in it. And I could see the blob of stuff that it pushed through. Well, there's a problem. Definitely won't run with that plugged up. But now that it's freed up, we're still going to stick it in the ultrasonic cleaner. And that'll ensure that everything works the way it should. Alright, let's get the bowl off. I'm not going to bother with a drain plug. Don't need to drain it. Should be empty. Ish. Bowl nut / bolt. Which way was that? Pointed out. Just so we can put it back on there the way it came off, so in case somebody wants to take it off and drain it, they can. I don't want to mangle this bowl gasket, because if it's... I don't have another one. Here we go, come off easy. A little bit of rust in there. So there was water in there at one point. That's likely due to the ethanol fuel. Little junky in there. Pull the float pin out. You guys seeing everything there? That's probably better. Float pin, float with needle. Needle is a soft tip and it looks just fine. There's our seat. It looks just fine. Let's see if I can get that emulsion tube jet, the main jet and emulsion tube out of there. Sometimes they're tricky. Oh, I doubt this one's ever been out. Came out nice and free. So I don't like to fall out because the threads are kind of messy on the bottom of these. They just don't like to come out very easy. Come on! I don't think I've ever had one come out really easy. The problem is that these are threaded inside here. There's threads for that piece that I'm unscrewing, and then it's got a slot which is not threaded, and then there's threads down here where this goes in. And the threads are different from each other, and they interfere with each other, and you're trying to get this beast out of here, and it doesn't want to drop out. Because you can't catch the threads, and if you try and push on it, it just doesn't come out. Oh, there it is. Good grief. Main jet. Looks clear. I can see through it. Get that tube out of there. That emulsion tube should pull out, pop out. There we go. These can be a beast. There's lots of little tiny holes. I push wire through them before it goes into the ultrasonic cleaner and after, just to make sure that they're clear. These little guitar strings are excellent, very, very handy for this. And look through the center. That's clear. Okay, there's nothing else in here that needs to come out. There's no other screws, nothing that I can take out and clean. So I'm going to hit the outside of this with brake clean to keep that crud out of my ultrasonic cleaner. And then it's going to go in for a 15-minute bath. Alright, she's out of her bath. Let's get her fired together. Quick and easy. Put that back in here. Little holder back in there. That back in there. We're just going to run this back down where it was, which was bottomed out. We'll find out if it's got if it's running too high when we get it back on the machine. That's that. I've pushed wires through the jets and all the emulsion tubes and everything. That's good. That's good. Let's get that thing started in there. Oh, that started easy. Just snug. Don't need to be gorilla tight. Our seat is in great shape, so I'm not going to have to polish that. Yep, needle's good. Pin back in. Looking at the level, looks okay. Yep, that's okay. Gasket's still good. That's the way it was in the machine. We're going to put our drain plug back out there. The way it was. There we go. We should be able to just pop that on there. Give her some fresh gas. And it should run. Should. It's clean. Let's do that. Oh, way up here. I can't see what you're looking at. There we go. Up. This way. Yeah. Yeet. Good. Alright, let's finagle that thing back in there. It was interesting getting it out. So we'll get our governor rod in there first. Get our governor spring hooked up in there. It's not really the governor spring, it's a governor damper spring. Just so it doesn't flutter and flop all over the place. Get one stud hooked in. Give her a bit of a tweak. Why are you not going in now? You came out. Come in. Oh, there we go. Just the right angle. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, like I said, there's a spacer in there. We're going to make sure that the spacer is doesn't have anything dropped in between it and its gasket surface. That's all good. Slam back together. And we have this kooky air box. Let's get that choke set where we want it. Okay, air box. The choke actuator rod. And then lock washer. And nut, which is a locking nut, so I don't know why there's lock washers on it. And lock washer on this side. And a nut. Fuel line is accessible with the carb bolted all the way on, so I'm just going to pop that on in a second. Let's run those nuts down. All the gaskets are in place where they need to be. That's on. Our fuel line on. Pliers somewhere. Here they are. Well, needle nose. We'll try them. Yep, that's on. Our little air hose, the breather hose that goes from the valve cover to the intake for crankcase ventilation. What are we forgetting? Oh, the primer bolt, the primer tube. That's easy. You guys can't see a thing. Pull that vent hose back out because the primer tube and this wire need to go above it. Here we are. Now I'll put the hose back in there. Yeah. Let's get this wiggled back in there. Get the primer hose hooked back up with this little spring clamp. Come on. It's a tight fit. There we are. Just squeezed in. There's a lot of stuff going on. On and in and under. Jigsaw puzzle. Okay. It all seems to be fitting. This bolt is from the top here. This many pieces all fitting together. You got to start everything first. I can't see that one. All these bolts are all the same size, so that's helpful. Start them all. Don't tighten anything down yet. Just one more. That's this one back here that I don't even know if I can get in. You know what, I can't see it. We're just gonna run them all down, and then when I get the thing back down, I'll get that last bolt in. Okay. Choke knob throttle knob. You guys anxious? Ready to see if it runs? Yeah. It's all working as it should. That's very tight. I'm gonna spray that with some penetrating oil. Very stiff. Just that throttle linkage. Well, that's better. It's very, very tight. Doesn't have to be that tight. All right, let's get that NGK spark plug in there. NGK or Champions, whatever. I prefer NGKs in 2 strokes. Seem to last longer, work better. Come on, I can't thread that by fingers. Maybe. Yeah, that went in. Good and snug. I know it's got spark because I already checked it. See how it runs. We may have to get in here. I don't know. I hope not. But if we do, we do. Okay, let's get you backed out a little. If we can, yeah, here we are. Our power cord is still hooked up. Yeah, Let's get some gasoline in it. Some non-ethanol. Work. That should be enough to run it. Here's the button. Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, that's full of gas. So, let's get a rag. Make sure it doesn't go flying out everywhere. Got the camera, laptop on there. Throttle. That's in. Choke's on. You know, I'm gonna try it. Yeah, I'll try with the choke on. Okay. A few primes. I'll hit the button. $4,000 RPM, too high. There's no more gas in the muffler though. Yeah, it's revving too high. Can I reach that? You can see the smoke coming out of the muffler though. Can't see. I can't see. I can't see anything. I'm disoriented. I'm not even sure what side that adjustment was on. Oh, there it is. I can see it from here. Whether I can get to it is another question. If I put a hole right there, I can. No fuel coming out of the carburetor. That's good. That's a good sign. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a hole right there. An adjustment hole.